Audio presents Who Thought This Was a Good Idea? And other questions you should have answers to when you work in the White House. Written and read by Alyssa Mastromonaco. Please enjoy the PDF of photos that accompanies this audiobook.
Introduction. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. When I first met Barack Obama in December 2004, I'm not sure he liked me very much. I had worked for John Kerry on and off for 4 years, and although the Secretary of State has a reputation for being aloof, the two of us had had a very warm and close relationship, pretty much from the moment I started as an assistant in his press and scheduling office in the spring of 2000. I expected my rapport with Senator-elect Obama, who was much closer to me in age and disposition, would be similar. Plus, I was coming off the presidential campaign for the Democratic nominee. I figured Obama, who was basically unknown at the time, would be thrilled that someone with so much experience, as well as so much wit and charm and talent, would want to come and work for him. I was wrong. Barack Obama is tougher than that. He cared less about my credentials and more about the fact that I wasn't from Illinois. He wanted someone with a connection to his constituency, which I didn't have. I think he also wanted someone who wasn't too big for her britches. And he couldn't tell immediately how I fit into my britches, literally or figuratively. The stress of a presidential campaign is not kind to the waistline. But I really wanted to work for Obama. After the brutal Kerry defeat, I especially wanted to work for someone who was not going to run for president. I didn't think I could take that heartbreak twice in a lifetime. But I also thought Obama was no bullshit and so smart. Even then, it was clear he was special. I had heard about the position from my friend Robert Gibbs, who had quit the Kerry campaign to work on Obama's U.S. Senate race. One day after we lost, I was in the Kerry office doing the very solitary, depressing work of making sure everyone's invoices had been paid before we turned the lights off for good, when a message from Gibbs popped up on my IM. "What are you doing now?" I said I was wrapping things up, and after that, I didn't really know. "Do you need a job?" Yes, I did need a job. I'd been thinking about going on to work for John Kerry's PAC, but it wasn't clear I'd get the role I wanted, Deputy PAC Director. Gibbs told me he was working for Barack Obama, who was really great, and that he thought I should interview to be his Director of Scheduling, a senior advisor. Pete Rouse, a famous and beloved figure on Capitol Hill, had just signed on as Chief of Staff. I told Gibbs I would look into it, and soon after, I met with Pete, who was wearing cowboy boots and jeans. He liked me and set me up to meet Obama. Walking into the interview, I wasn't nervous, really. If you're nervous, you seem uncertain, and I've always gone into interviews with the sense that if it works out, that's great. If it doesn't, then it wasn't meant to be. Besides, Obama was wearing a black mock turtleneck. It put me at ease. It was a fairly run-of-the-mill interview, with Obama at the head of the table and me across from Pete and Gibbs, going over my life and priorities. Why would I want to work for him when I wasn't from Illinois? And since I had just come from doing what was essentially a much more intense version of the same job with a very big staff and a lot to do, wouldn't I get bored sitting around at the Senate all day? I didn't feel like I'd nailed it. Obama bid me farewell with a classic job interview move, "We'll be in touch." But if nothing else, I felt confident in my personality. At worst, I am good but difficult, and a tad sensitive. And at best, I am assertive, but laid back, resilient, with a righteous sense of humor. Even if I don't manage to get people to like me, I can usually persuade them that I am competent and not too annoying. And that's how this story starts, with the humble goal of seeming competent and not too annoying. Like most women I know, I ultimately want to be likable and trustworthy, as well as glamorous. But it's important to take baby steps. Though Pete later told me it had taken some persuading, Obama called and offered me the job. I wrote a lot of this book during the 2016 Rio Olympics, and even though social media was around for 2012 and 2008, this year's games really felt like they were taking place online. If I didn't catch an event when it was on TV, it was pretty easy to figure out what had happened by looking on Twitter. And on Twitter, the commentary was much funnier. One of the most iconic images from this Olympics was quickly turned into a viral meme by someone with 830 followers named @A7XWeeman. The photo is really crazy. In the semifinal for the men's 100-meter dash, the Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt